Welcome to the Jaguar Podcast, a show where we discuss all things related to Duval County's finest NFL football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Blue 42, set, what?
Duval, baby! Hey everybody, this is Andrew and welcome to episode 40 of the Jaguar Podcast. In this episode, I'll be doing a recap of the matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans. Before we jump into it, make sure you give me a like for this video if you enjoyed it or some of the other content and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. So it was another miserable Monday this week. We lost the game to the Tennessee Titans 20-42. It was really a blowout. Just not good. Another beatdown, and it just was not good at all. Made me kind of think of the last game that we played against the Titans in 2018, where we got blown out. Pretty much the same in this game. The only difference is that we had Nick Foles instead of Cody Kessler. But this was not good. Ryan Tannehill, don't think he's a very good quarterback. He kind of just made us look foolish and embarrassed us. We couldn't stop him. He ran into the end zone for a touchdown on a quarterback scramble there. It was just pathetic. We couldn't stop him. We couldn't tackle him. Not much to say about the defense in this game. Gave up, I think it was like 224 yards rushing to the Titans. We can't stop the run. That's been a common theme, this season. I don't know why we have a pretty decent front four on the defensive line, but we just can't seem to stop the run. So I don't know what's going on there. It may be Taven Bryan. It may be the absence of defensive tackle Marcel Darius. It seems like, we played a lot better when Marcel Darius was, starting in the game, first game against the Titans this season at home. But it just doesn't seem like we can stop the run. And that seems to be a continuing theme in the defensive deficiencies this season. Another thing is that, it seems like, we can't cover anybody. Our secondary looks terrible. Again, we got beat by crossing routes with our great zone coverage that Todd Wash develops for us. We couldn't tackle. AJ Bouye, again, can't tackle. He's a terrible open field tackler. Whiffed on a bunch of tackles. Got stiff-armed by Derrick Henry. It was just embarrassing. And this I don't know if we should even bring him back next season. I mean, it seems like he's totally given up this season and he's quit. So I don't know about him. Our secondary is really just up in the air, and I definitely think we need to draft somebody since Jalen Ramsey left. So we'll see what happens. But the silver lining of this game really was Leonard Fournette. He had 2 touchdowns in this game, had almost 100 yards rushing. I believe it was like 94 yards, which was a little bit disappointing. I wish he would have gotten 100 yards, but, hopefully maybe he'll get it in the next game against Tampa Bay, but we'll see what happens. The defense didn't have much happening there, but in terms of highlights, there were a few. Yannick Ngakoue had a strip sack, which was really nice. And again, the front office needs to pay this guy. Well, we'll see what happens. They screw up a lot of things, and I'll go into a little bit more about this in a future episode about the front office because they're just a shit show. But Calais Campbell had a fumble recovery as well. So that was pretty awesome. But the defense sucked this game. I mean, that's the bottom line. They played terribly, and that's really, there's nothing much more to say about it. Let's jump into the box score real quick. From a passing perspective, Jaguars, Nick Foles, our quarterback, 32 for 48, 272 yards passing, no touchdowns. Still wasn't very impressed by his performance this game. I mean, it's good he didn't throw any picks, but it's really the play calling in this game was just poo-poo. Not good. A lot of screen passes, not much, deep ball throwing by Nick Foles. And I just think, again, really shitty play calling by John DeFilippo in this game. Kind of a lot of screen passes, a lot of third and shorts that we didn't make because we had these stupid little screen passes, and we got tackled short for the first down. So that was really disappointing. Again, I would say the rushing game, Leonard Fournette, 24 carries, 97 yards, averaged about 4 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. Was also great in the air, caught a bunch of passes, 9 receptions for 62 yards. So he did a lot of work there as well. And again, can't reiterate how proud I've been of Leonard this season with the different scheme. He's still working with it. He's not complaining, even though it's just not really conventional for his style of playing. He's more of a power back. He needs the ball, but they seem to want to have him catching more passes. So, we'll see what happens with that. But Nick Foles had a couple carries, 3 carries for 20 yards. A couple plays he kind of broke free and got some yardage there. On a receiving end for Jacksonville, Dede Westbrook, he had a great game at 8 receptions, 69 yards. Leonard Fournette, again, 9 receptions for 62 yards. Chris Conley, 4 receptions for 49 yards. Dropped a pass that he really should have caught. I mean, it bounced off of his shoulder pads, for Christ's sake. Catch the ball. That was ridiculous. And I believe, I want to say it was Dede Westbrook had one that went right through his hands. It was a deep ball and would have put us in scoring position in the first quarter. So that's just terrible. I don't know what's going on with our wide receivers. Again, it may have just been a bad game. Everybody misses a few here and there, but you just can't miss those plays. Bottom line. So, DJ Chark, 5 receptions for 38 yards. So that was good as well. Defense, again, terrible. Gave up, 259 yards passing from Ryan Tannehill, who is just not a good quarterback. This guy's just not a good quarterback. He plays with a lot of heart. I think he got lucky and he beat Kansas City in that last game. But, we should have shut this guy down. There's no way he should have had the game that he had. So, again, I think that falls on Todd Wash and the defensive scheme. And we keep playing zone. We're not aggressive. We don't blitz. And teams know this, and they just throw crossing routes, and they know how to beat this because, the scheme is not very complicated. It's not very great. So I'll get into that in another episode about Todd Wash. But, gave up 224 yards rushing. Miles Jack just looked confused, our great middle linebacker that we paid $44 million for. He looked confused. Missed some tackles, was out of position. I don't know much to say about this guy. He's just, I think it's a bust. It's a bust move. We shouldn't have extended him. And I'm hoping that we see, some other personnel at linebacker. I think towards the end of the game, they actually pulled him and put Donald Payne in there. But I'm hoping we see Jake Ryan, hopefully, in the last few games. Not impressed with Miles Jack, though. He can't tackle. He looks confused. He's out of position. He said in the beginning of the season, I'm going to be the Mike linebacker. I can play that. Well, first of all, stop saying Mike linebacker. It's middle linebacker, people, okay? Come on. Stop using that word. It just angers me. Second of all, you can't play Mike linebacker. You can't play middle linebacker because you haven't been doing a good job. And that's the bottom line. You're not a middle linebacker, okay? You're an outside linebacker. You're a weak side linebacker. You're not a middle linebacker. You can't tackle. You've made no plays this season. You've had 1 interception, and that was your biggest play, and that's it. But you have not been doing a good job, so you're not a middle linebacker, okay? So we need to switch personnel. We need to make a personnel decision. I don't know if they need to draft a linebacker, or I don't know what they need to do at the linebacker position. I think that's a gap, and I think they need to either draft somebody or pick somebody up in free agency. Maybe they use Jake Ryan when he gets healthy or decides to come back. I don't know what to really do there, but I think there's definitely a gap at middle linebacker. So Myles Jack has just been a disaster this season. On a brighter note, special teams, they were better. Josh Lambo, he was 2 for 2, hit a 50-yard field goal. That was pretty impressive. Logan Cook, I think he had 2 punts, inside the 20 in this game, so that was pretty good as well. But this was just been a dumpster fire, this game and pretty much the season. So I think we're really playing for pride in the rest of the games that we have left, especially the next one against the Buccaneers. And, we'll see what happens, guys. Stay positive. I know I sounded very negative in this video, in this podcast episode, but, stay positive. Go Jags, Duval for life. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video or podcast episode. Subscribe to the channel. Go Jags, and I'll see you next time.
Let me get that. JYD coming up with the big sack. Quarterbacks beware, we on the prowl. Game day night, you could hear it in our growl. Intimidation on to keep their hearts racing. Eating other teams live on TV front of the nation. Spectacular defensive scheme.
This episode is available on the Jaguar Podcast YouTube channel. So if you stop by, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. Also, these episodes are available on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other major podcast distributors as well. So if you don't mind, please leave me a review and some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, my Twitter handle is @JagwarPodcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers.